Hello and welcome to episode 313 of the 77 Club. Harry, start with the socials.
With the Wolves glasses on Bayliss, the Wolves 77 Club on all social media, and we're on Spotify and YouTube. Please subscribe. No one subscribes on YouTube for a bit, so please do that if you're new.
Jack Williams is here.
Hello, everybody.
And oh my days, I don't believe it. Daniel Bayliss has made some time in his busy schedule to join us on the podcast. Hello, Daniel. How are you?
Hello. I'm very well, thank you. How are you all?
Not too bad, thanks.
I don't recognise you.
Moustache for a bet, is it? I'm getting the words.
Yeah. I think it's 6 weeks till I go to Australia, and it's got to be nice and bushy, so I fit in out there.
Right. Okay. You're not getting a head start on Movember or anything like that.
That's a good excuse.
Excellent. Well, it's good to have you here. Harry, let's start with Premier League action. Sunderland away. You were saying that Sunderland weren't very good, easily beatable, I think, last season. I said, watch the Sunderland fans clip us up. I'm sure they have. What was your assessment of that game?
Oh, yeah, I feel like a right dope because I was on here giving it the Barry Big Biscuit, saying we're going to go there and win. Sunderland are shite. I think I did a video on my own channel saying why Wolves will beat Sunderland. So, yeah, as you know, completely backfired. And so all our own fault. In saying that, I was happy with the starting lineup. It's a starting lineup I would have picked. But that first half, we got absolutely battered by Sunderland. The best tweet or the best post I saw all day was someone saying that they look like the team that have been in the Premier League for 8 years. We look like a newly promoted team struggling. That is just the game to a T, and it's because of our recruitment over the last 4 years we're in this situation. And second half, big improvements. I thought we completely dominated possession, but never felt like we was going to score. We got no creativity or cutting edge up top. It's probably the worst I've seen Strand Larson playing a Wolves shirt. And yeah, and the first goal as well was embarrassing. I've piped on and gone on the last few weeks on this podcast on about how well we've done in a 4-3-3 defensively and how solid we've looked. That first goal, to concede the way we did, a little 1-2 like that, was like Sunday League defending. Doherty just leaving his man, massive gap. Sam Johnston should do better, but he's let down by his defence, and it's literally 3 yards in front of him. He gets toe bobbed through his legs, but disgraceful first half, in my opinion, and then very unfortunate at the end. But we could have played that game for a week straight and we wouldn't have scored.
Jack, I don't think we could have any gripes about the starting 11, as Harry just mentioned there. Rodrigo Gomez coming into the side for Wang Yi-Chan, back four. Just didn't work, though, did it?
Just want to read you something before we start. 1:50 p.m. on Saturday, Harry Mansour. Easy win today. Can feel it. Overhyped, Sunderland are. And I just bookmarked that just for full time because I knew exactly what was going to happen after those words were spoken.
Jack, can you read me the message that you sent at 2:51?
Yes, I can. But this wasn't me saying that we were going to win. This was just me trying to get myself hyped up. So it was something on the lines of, "Come on now, lads! Enough pissing about. Time to actually do something." And we did do something. We lost. Team selection overall, I think not too bad. I know that some of the changes were actually obviously forced with the likes of Wang, because we all know he'd have probably been starting if he wasn't injured. But just comical, man. Like, some of the things are just so depressing. Absolutely nothing in the final third, I think, was one of the things that just really, really stood out. As Harry's already called out, the defending for that first goal, it's like I think it's Doherty and Manetzi. They play a quick 1-2 on the edge of the box. Manetzi and Doherty both chase the ball. They both chase the ball and completely leave the man who then goes on to score. It's comical, like, watching that back. It is just defending like you'd watch like a kids team playing in a school match. It's just hilarious. But the really disappointing thing for me is, like, Sunderland, I agree. I don't think they were particularly that great. I think 2-0 probably flatters them a little bit because we were the better team in the second half. But better for what? Because they still look like more of a threat. They were the ones putting in long throws all the time, and obviously they went on to hit the post, didn't they, from one of those in that second half? So had the better chances, but just absolutely nothing going forward. And even on the few occasions where we did create a half decent opening, like there's a decent move which ultimately led to the ball falling to João Gomez towards the top of the box. And it was just comical, the finish. Like, genuinely comical. And another one where Jackson is through on goal. And you think, he's the fastest player in the Serie A last season. He's through on goal. And I don't know what he does. He just hits it off his bloody shin and it just bobbles to the right. It's genuinely just comical. And I agree with Harry because I'm Strand Larsen's biggest fan, but this season and particularly at the weekend, he's just not been it, has he? And I know people are saying he's not fit, but like maybe mentally his head's in Newcastle still. But like it's just depressing at the moment, really, because even though there's parts where you can say, look, we're kind of in the game, these matches that we're going into where we have to pick up points, otherwise we're going to be adrift. We already are adrift. Like we're just not showing up, and it's just I can't see where an actual win is coming from.
We talk about his head still being in Newcastle. Most of his shots ended up there. Bayliss, which is the best innings in an Ashes series?
Oh,
I'm just kidding. I don't want to get into that. I thought actually, we've spoken about it before, is that players that have been brought in by sides lower down the table that have gone on to do well, that are maybe you'd think in the twilight of their career. We mentioned Jordan Henderson at Brentford as being one of those. Yeah. What was your assessment as Xhaka? Because I think he sort of ran the show, pulling the strings.
Yeah, I didn't think Sunderland played too badly, and they've had some good results, so I won't take anything away from them, regardless of them being a newly promoted side. I think the problem lies is that, yeah, we weren't great defensively for the goal, but you can't go and have that much of the ball, create so much in the final third and have one shot on target in the game. And that was speculative. That's the embarrassing point. To be honest, the whole Strand Larsen thing that we've touched on, I liked him. He was superb last year, but it's entirely Dazzling Dave's fault that we haven't got 55 million quid and we still have the same amount of goals. If he hadn't sung that song, at least we've had some money.
Talking about singing songs, Harry, the away end was full of songs just for players that are, and managers actually, that are no longer here. Very, very strange when that starts to happen.
Yeah, exactly the same thing happened last year at Everton away, wasn't it? When we lost 4-0. When the fans are disillusioned with what they're watching, so they sing all the old songs, Nuno Had a Dream, etc., etc. And yeah, I felt sorry for the away fans. It's a bloody long way up there. And like I said, particularly that first half, it's no good. And I think it's slowly starting to turn now where I've banged the drum saying you've got to aim your anger and your blame at Jeff Shee and Fosun because of the recruitment and what's happened over the years. I stick with that, but you have got to start pointing the finger at Vitor Pereira too. I think the pressure's getting to him. The substitution to bring Hoover on was... I just started laughing at the telly, to be honest. Just again, against Brighton, he had some weird substitutions and then who literally nobody in that away and no Wolves fan watching that game on TV would have thought, right, his first substitution is going to be Hoover for Doherty. No one would have done that. So again, bizarre. And then you have to bring Chachura on for John Arias right forward. And like Jack mentioned, he goes through one-on-one, fluffs it, but he's a bloody right back, for God's sake. That's not his job. We had two attackers on the bench, Fair, Lopez and Tolu, and all the rest of the defenders, apart from the goalkeeper, obviously. It's just not good enough. And the biggest surprise for me, it's just come back to me as well, was Rodrigo Gomez on long throws. I don't know where that come from. I didn't even know he could throw the ball that long. But again, I was happy he started. But it's bad, really, when out of the front three, he was probably the brightest spark. And he's basically a left wing back, isn't he? I'm glad he played there. And I think he can come good there. He struggled a bit for me. There was that one where he skied it over the bar. He had a really good chance on his left foot, didn't he? And skied it. Should have done better. But John Arias, my Lord. I can't believe how bad he's been. I mean, he showed a little bit of improvement at Spurs, but he may as well have been right back against Sunderland, not right forward. He's so deep. He's so negative. He shits his pants when he gets the ball and just wants to pass it. He don't want to lose it. He's scared to lose the ball. He's got zero confidence, and he has not adapted to the Premier League very well at all. Considering he's in the Club World Cup team of the tournament, I can't believe how bad he's been. And he needs to pull his finger out. He's meant to be one of our superstar players. I reckon Mane would do a better job than him at the moment, the youth team lad.
He's come from a league where you get an hour on the ball and you do what you want. It's all about expansive football. When someone actually wants to put one up you and put you under pressure, he's just a Brazilian Carl Henry.
Sounds like 18-year-old you in the nightclub.
That is a discredit to Carl Henry.
Jack, I wanted to talk to me about John Arias because I'd like to highlight his terrible corners as well.
Oh,
well, terrible set pieces is something that we, as a Wolves fan, we're just used to now, aren't we? Like, we have some of the most hilarious set pieces that I've ever seen this season. There's been a few occasions that have just been diabolical. But I've said it pretty much from the start. Like even the first few games, if you go back and listen to some of these podcasts, I was like, I've seen nothing of him in a Wolves shirt, which suggests all this hype is actually worth it. And obviously, you have to give players a bit of patience. And I've said before that Gomez came from the same league in Brazil, and it didn't. He had to take his time to adjust. It took him a year, really. And this all goes back, I think, partly to the fact that, he's been a disappointment considering all the hype, particularly the recent hype in the summer as well. Obviously, you've already mentioned the Club World Cup, but just not doing enough in a Wolves shirt at all. Like the moments that he does have the ball, it's just very frustrating and doesn't look like he can actually beat a player or anything. And whether he's playing a little bit in the wrong position, fair enough, but still, his touches on the ball and stuff are just not convincing. And I don't know what to do really. Maybe he's just thinking, why have I come and joined this outfit when it's just such a mess and we're bottom of the league when lots of other clubs would have been interested in me? But I don't know. I don't really know what to say because obviously there is a player in there, and I reckon Fosun were rubbing their hands together, thinking straight away, "Oh, this is the Cunha replacement. Brilliant. We've pulled another one out the bag here." And the problem is when you do this and you bring players in and don't give them time to adjust and expect them to perform straight away, otherwise we get relegated. Eventually, it's going to catch up with you, and it seems to be that's exactly what's happening now.
Baylis, is it Vitor's fault, as Harry is starting to say now? Because Gomez, as we've already mentioned, pulled his shot wide. It was a pretty terrible effort, to be fair. Manetzi had a good effort on goal, which was saved. I think either side of the keeper is going in. Tuchura obviously came close with the one-on-one. Strand Larsen is taking way too many touches. He is a player low on confidence. But how much of this falls on Vitor when we just can't finish?
I mean, to an extent, it's got to start happening now. I mean, he didn't have much of a pre-season. He's pulled together a team and lost his superstars. So he gets that little stay on execution for 5 to 8 games. And we've had that, and we've been truly awful with small glimmers and then thrown away 2 games, essentially. We probably wouldn't be talking like this if we'd held on against Brighton and Tottenham. It's only last-minute goals that have really done us. But have we really deserved to win many? No. The substitutions, as Harry said, have been ludicrous at times. And I can't see how that team is going to create enough chances and shots on target in a game to win us a game at this point. So then it comes down to the manager. We've still got Strand Larsen. Tolu was top scorer in the Belgian league. Yeah, it might not be the best, but he's still done it, and it'll be in European football as well. So at some point, we've got to think about this and start labelling blame, but I'll probably give him till after Fulham before I really get stuck in.
Let's have a comment here from Sam. Says, let's be honest, we haven't made a positive/correct for the situation substitution all season. There is only one person who controls that. Harry, bring you back around to that. You would say that actually the 3 positive substitutions outside the Hoover one did come on the 76th and 77th minute. Is that too late?
Yeah, he makes a lot of substitutions too late. The glaring bad decisions from him was Brighton. That's the glaring one. Spurs, I could see why at the time, why he brought Totti on so late, just to try and see out the result. That was more unlucky for me, the Spurs one. But you've got to argue, on the other hand, his substitutions half-time against Spurs, 2 switched to a 5, ironically, actually improved us, and we went 1-0 up, and we nearly just got the 3 points. But yeah, there's been a lot of games this season, and as I said, particularly the Brighton at home, where his substitutions, it's pressure, isn't it? Gary O'Neill did the same. When they start feeling the pressure and they're desperate for wins and they know everyone's talking about their position as manager, you keep seeing weird decisions. Gary O'Neill did exactly the same this time last year. His substitutions, his starting 11s were weird. And they start trying to be too clever. They start trying to do old things they used to do when it's successful, and they don't just stick to their guns. They panic and they listen to people. He said in his press conference he don't listen to the outside noise, Vitor. But you can tell he does from some of the things he's been doing. Like sticking with a 4-3-3, for example, and starting Rodrigo left forward. I mean, I know Hwang was injured, but I do think he's listening. I think he's listening to the outside noise. You still don't know what his best team is. I got a weird feeling, I know we'll get onto it, he'll probably switch back to a back 5 for the weekend because it's last hurrah, and he'll probably think back to the 6 wins in a row and try and play a similar team to that. But yeah, pressure's getting to Vitor. And what is it? April since we last won a Premier League game. No manager should survive that. I love him. I loved it when he was going to the pub. I like him as a bloke. I used to enjoy watching his press conferences. You could probably play a video of me saying this about Gary O'Neill last season. It's just exactly the same. I like him, but the harsh reality of football is if you're not picking up the results in the Premier League, you ain't going to keep your job.
On that point that Harry's just made there, Jack, and managers under pressure, do you understand why they feel pressure in the first place? Because they know that if they get sacked, they're up for a huge payday. What I was trying to do then was find the message that Bayliss sent to the group the other day, which after Ange got sacked, somebody said that when he goes back to Australia, he'll be able to watch every single Premier League minute that he managed under Forest and still have time for Crocodile Dundee and a £7 million payout. So
and that's true.
How much does pressure really come into it when you know that you're just guaranteed to earn what you would have earned when you were doing well? Because I don't think the bravado of staying in the Premier League is...
It's a career, though, isn't it? It's your next
it's you can't judge us by those sorts of standards, because obviously that sounds like a good gig to us, but these people have already got money. So what's more money when you've already got millions in the bank? They want a legacy, they want to win things, they want a reputation, they want to go and manage in the Champions League or at international level or whatever it is. And I honestly believe that. I believe Vitor honestly wanted to come and manage in the Premier League. He would want to be a success in the Premier League. And let's be honest, the end of last season, he really was. And I think that we've given him a little bit more time than we would have, just because we can see what's happened with regards to the squad than the players, and how Fosun's usual thing of sell the assets, bring in new players and bring them in late to the window. So we've had a bit more patience, but I think the tide is starting to turn now, because as you say, like, we haven't won a game in ages. My friends who went to the Sunderland game said that the crowd has started to turn now, and some of the videos didn't look great towards the end of the game. So I think that's that. And the reason for that is because arguably I think some of his decisions now, you can't really hide behind the fact that his substitutions and his management have ultimately caused us to drop points. And even me against Spurs, I know I wasn't on the podcast last week, but after the Spurs game, I was like, that's just one of the things that happens. We played well in that Spurs game, and ultimately we got sucker punched by a great strike at the end. However, same situation a week later at home to Brighton, and you go defensive after 60 minutes. And when you're only 1-0 up, that's a managerial decision, and that's inexcusable, because there was a second goal in that game for us against Brighton to kill the game off. We had a chance where, Arias had a chance, Strand Larsen hit the post, but we think, no, let's be clever. Let's go defensive, and by the time they get it back to 1-1, we haven't got a striker on the pitch. So how are we then going to go on? And like some of these days, I know we go going back to the glory days, but under Nuno, we didn't know we were beat. We'd still 5 minutes left. We'd have another go, and we'd go back and try and turn something around. But it's just too negative, and ultimately, I think he's starting to struggle. But I agree. The difference this time is I think that even if we did bring someone new in, I know it seems to work for Wolves that we get this new energy around the place, and the players start playing a little bit. But with the squad we've got, I don't know who'd come in and make that much of a difference this time, because we don't have those same superstars that we did around the dressing room last year, I don't think.
Well, no, and we talk about Cunha and not having him be replaced, but we have to remember how long it took him to settle in, because we were at the beginning of the season after he joined in the January saying, have we spent the Ruben Neves money on a bit of a blue duck egg? Bayliss, did you feel sorry for Krejci?
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't hear it. I heard Crouchy then. Sorry. I'm sorry. It's some obscure Peter Crouch podcast reference that I haven't picked up. No. Bad luck, isn't it? Happens. Play at the back, you're going to score a couple of those.
He was our best player on the day. I think he was our best player on the day. So I felt sorry for him. He has been the only signing we've brought in that's been any good, in my opinion. Chachua's had decent moments, but he's the only good signing we've brought in. Fer Lopez, we haven't seen enough to know if he's good or not. I mean, what has it been? He even played him. Say again.
Lopez has shown promise, at least.
Yeah, he's shown promise, but Krejci is the only one that's come in, played near enough every game, and just hit the ground running, and has been undroppable. And he's probably the first name on the team sheet now. Whereas you can tell with Vitor Pereira, because of his age, you just don't really trust Fer Lopez. But now, with the way everyone's been playing, you're telling me that John Arias deserves to start over Fer Lopez now? I don't think he does. Fer Lopez gets straight in there.
It was unfortunate that the main contribution that Fer Lopez had at the weekend was giving the ball away and Sunderland essentially getting the second, which I think was unlucky.
Yeah.
And we needed to be pushing for the goal and stuff. And I suppose that's what happens when you're that far up the pitch, that can happen.
He was centre midfield as well. He come on like literally centre midfield, whereas we know he's a 10 or like a wide forward that likes to cut in. And Chachua was probably where Fer Lopez should have been. So it was just all at the end. He was just desperate, wasn't he? He did the classic, put Tolu and Strand Larsen up there. Tolu had a few headers, didn't he? But he's not getting enough opportunities either. The way Strand Larsen's been playing, I know he started against Leeds and was poor, Tolu, in that 3-1 loss, but he probably deserves a bit of a run now and give Strand Larsen a bit of a rest because this Achilles injury. I mean, his press conference before the Sunderland game, he said again he's not fully fit, but then he plays the full 90 minutes against Sunderland, so I didn't get that. But yeah, for the original question, I felt really sorry for Krejci. A lot of them could probably take a note out of his book and play like him. If they all played like Krejci, we wouldn't be in the bottom three.
One thing I will say, the one time we've seen someone actually come up with a decent finish and create a chance was in the League Cup game against West Ham by Tolu.
Yeah, you were thinking Everton, wasn't it?
Everton.
Yeah.
And he hasn't had a chance to have a go at a team for a proper period of time. So,
no.
God, at least give the guy a go.
On that point that Bayliss has just made, Jack, I don't know if you saw the presser with Vitor after the game, but he was very, very angry that he brought on Tolu to play with Strand Larsen and was outraged that we had played long ball football and had just decided to boot it up to him. They were saying that we should have been playing our normal game, building the players we would be, whoever was on the pitch, but we came away from the game plan. What's your assessment of that?
Well, from what I saw in the game, we didn't have anybody who could take a decent touch in the final third. So why would you think that would change in the last 10 minutes? Like, it's hilarious. Like, I think what I've been crying out for as a Wolves fan is to just start both of them and put two wingers on and actually get some balls into the box. But the problem with that is the quality of balls going into the box would be bloody laughable anyway, wouldn't it? So I don't know what you do. I think he's frustrated about the recruitment. He's frustrated about the players he's got, and I agree with him. Yeah, fair enough, but like when you're chasing a game like that, you've got to go for it. And you can't always play the way you want to. You've got to play to try and do something different. And what we've been doing so far just wasn't working. So just lump some balls in and see if it happens. Because he got a header away pretty 2 minutes after coming on, didn't he?
Jack, I just don't think they've got the grit or call it bollocks. They haven't got the bollocks to go and just fight to win a game. You know, you have those teams that are scrapping at the bottom and they just chuck everything at it. You know, they leave everything on the pitch, go out for 90 minutes, scrap a 1-0. I can't see Wolves doing that. I don't know who is going to take control of the game and lead them and drive them towards winning something. They look like a bit of a half-assed spent force. You know, lovely football, pass it around, get into the final third. Fuck all fart, no poo.
I mean, we're changing our captain 3 times in a bloody game consistently. So how does that help? Like, I don't know.
Game of pass the armband. So that is 2 out of 2 losses against promoted sides. Obviously, Leeds at home, Sunderland away. Harry, next up is Burnley at home. A lovely, lovely Sunday kickoff for us to revel in. Would you make any changes? And if so, who would it be?
Well, we put in the title that Vitor said himself, this is a must win. And it's the first time he said that. So he's put huge pressure on himself. And it is a must win. We know it's a must win. I think Sunderland was too. I think because of the way we started the season. But I don't know what he's going to do. I don't, like I alluded to earlier, I think there's a chance he might go back to a 5 because Burnley basically just play super defensive, well-organised football. And they're going to say to us, come on then, break us down. And as we saw against Sunderland, we couldn't break down, a pot of tea at the moment. So I don't know if that makes sense, but you know what I mean. But so if that is the case, we've got to go with the 4-3-3 again. He probably will put his little favourite item, Wangi Chan, back in the team if he's fit, in my opinion, because he absolutely loves him. I think he'll take Rodrigo out, put him back in on the left. I think there's a chance we might see Tolu because if Vitor Pereira's got a pair of eyes and was watching the game we all watched, Strand Larsen was that bad. I think he does deserve to be dropped, even in a game this big. So I think we might see Tolu start. And again, John Arias. I genuinely would put Bayliss right forward instead of John Arias against Burnley. That's how poor I think John Arias has been. So maybe stick Fair Lopez in from the start. He got an assist against Leeds when he started his last Premier League game. We hadn't seen him since, apart from when he come on against Sunderland for that little cameo. At the back, it's interesting now because, like we mentioned, the defending was poor. And I was quite surprised he dropped Chachua because I thought, apart from Chachua putting the ball out for a corner against Brighton, I thought he had a really good game against Brighton at right back in the 4. And because Doherty was poor, I get it because obviously he was captain, but maybe bring Chachua back in at right back. I would keep Santi and Krejci because I believe they were okay. I know Krejci scored an own goal, but it was very unfortunate. He was knackered at full stretch running back. Hugo Bueno was staying there because Muller-Wolf, what a waste of time signing him. And then the 3 midfielders, I don't know. Menezes, I thought, was probably one of our better players on the day, despite him not being able to finish. Andre and João Gomez were really poor, but you ain't going to drop them two, are you? So maybe put Bellegarde in, but he was unfit, so he might not be fully fit again. So I think I've covered it all there, haven't I? But
I think you've done a pretty
yeah.
comprehensive breakdown there.
Yeah.
Jack, do you have anything to add on to that?
Not really. It's pretty desperate, isn't it? So it's just a case of.
Is it
just a case of?
Would you go to a 5?
Would I go to a 5?
No,
I wouldn't go to a 5. I don't think so. But mighty potentially, but I still don't think the defending is necessarily the problem. I know we fell asleep for that one moment against Sunderland, but apart from that, we didn't let a goal in. The problem is scoring. The problem is in the final third, and if you actually can attack and you can actually hold up the ball a bit better and you can put some decent balls in. Attack is a form of defense because then you won't be coming straight back at you. So I don't know, but I know I'm always the one to say that games aren't must wins, but if ever we lose on Sunday,
he's gone.
Right the season off. I think we've had it. I think we've had it.
Surely he's gone, right? He's gone, isn't he? If we don't win, if we lose this game, he's gone, right, Vitor? Surely.
I was going to say with a couple of comments in the comment section saying, "Is this win or bust?" I think Sam saying that, win or bust. I mean, Jack, obviously you too early on in the season, but you pretty much just nailed on that we're down. I would tend to agree. I think if you are losing against the 3 promoted sides at the first time of asking, and also not having a win on the board, and it's approaching November, then big problems. But Harry, who do we bring in? It's that old managerial merry-go-round again, isn't it? I mean, you jokingly put in about Sean Dyche coming in, but he's gone to Forest.
Yeah, when he was, I mean, I probably would have picked Dyche, weirdly, just because I think he'd have played 4-4-2 with Tolu and Strand Larsen up there and made it hard to beat him, just whack it up to them. But, I mean, there's Adolf Hutter, and they got to be careful how you say that. Who everyone keeps on about. That one who went in for the Rangers job that Ben Jacobs tweeted earlier, the Portuguese young manager. Everyone thinks it might be him. I forget his name because I can't pronounce it. But he's a George Mendes agent. But look, hopefully Vitor wins. I want Vitor to turn it round. But like we said, last season, to Gary O'Neill, when we was in this situation, I just thought all we needed was a man to come in, give us a bit more confidence to sort our defence out. Because going forward, we were still scoring a lot of goals. This season, we're struggling to score. So bringing in a manager, a new one, we might get the manager bounce, but I just don't think we've got the good enough quality there. Like we did last season. We had Aït-Nouri and Cunha. As much as people slagged Aït-Nouri off and said he's crap at defending, the bloke's one of the best left-backs in the Premier League. I don't care what anybody says. And his goal contributions spoke for themselves, and we have missed him this season. There's no one like Aït-Nouri. He's a maverick. We miss Semedo. We do. We just do. I know he contributed nothing going forward, but we miss him as a captain. We miss how calm he was. We miss his defensive qualities, and it's just a huge gap without him there, in my opinion. And maybe he'll go mad and think, right, what did I do in those 6 wins last season? He had Bellegarde, Strand Larsen, and Menezes as the front 3, if you remember, because Cunha was missing for 4 of the 6 games. So he might do that and start those 3 up front, and then, I don't know, put Hugo Bueno left wing back, go back to the 5, put Agbadou back in with Toti Gomez, along with Krejci maybe. He might do that and just think, sod it, I'm going back to what I know when we won the 6. But at the time, we had Aït-Nouri left wing back, who was huge in that system. And Cunha did eventually come back and start scoring again. But I don't know, but like we've said so many times, we saw a way out last season, but I think it's one too many now. Jeff Shee is just give us the best times ever for those first few years. Loved it, amazing times as a Wolves fan. But the last 4 or 5 years, he has single-handedly drained the life out of the supporters and the club itself and the squad while concentrating on esports, and we are gonna go down.
There you go. Heard it here first. Jack, give us a score prediction.
I don't want to.
Do you want to do a head and heart prediction? Will that make it easy?
You know what? I think it's a game that Burnley will just be thinking, just don't lose this. You know, that's really going to put one team properly behind us and really in the shite if we just hold out there. So I think it's going to be a terrible game of football, but I'm going to go 1-1.
1-1. Of course, Burnley are 5 points clear of us in 17th at the moment. Bayliss?
1-0 Burnley, 100%.
Excellent. Harry?
Yeah, you just alluded to it there, Sam, actually. It makes it a must-win as well, because if we lose, we're 8 points behind them, aren't we? And they're 17th at the moment. So I've watched Burnley a few times this year. I've actually been impressed with them. I know they lost 5-1 to Man City, but they played well that day. It was never a 5-1 game. The floodgates just opened towards the end because it's City. But we're going to really struggle to break them down. So I want to be optimistic and say Burnley can't score and we win 1-0. But in reality, I agree with Bayliss. I think Burnley will beat us 1-0.
Just a point, Harry. We've played 2 promoted sides, played 8 games. Where we currently sit, we wouldn't reach 10 points in the season if it continues.
If we carry on with this average, yeah. I think I've seen
carry on like this.
It can. But I've seen someone work out if we do carry on then this points average, we'll finish the season on 9.5 points. That's so we will be below Derby's record. But it's got to turn. Well, Jeff Shee said himself, our season doesn't start until 10 to 15 games in because we've got to bed our signings in. So,
fucking sort that out, the stupid twat.
If you go on Jeff Shee's logic, our season hasn't started yet. We're still in pre-season. But what Jeff Shee was banking on, and this is, I remember Liam Keane saying on the Express and Star podcast in the beginning of the season, he said that Jeff Shee and the higher-ups at Wolves said that there are 5 teams worse off than Wolves. And I think they've overestimated that. They expected all the promoted teams to be as shit as last season, and I reckon they're shocked in how.
I don't think I could name 5 players worse than any player we've got, let alone 5 teams.
Yeah, I don't know, but we are the worst team in the Premier League at the moment.
If you listen to our first episode of the season, we all thought that they were all going to be crap, and I think most pundits out there thought that the 3 that came up were going to go down. I think they have surprised everybody. So I mean, we shouldn't be too shocked that. Jeff was maybe looking in a little bit too positively.
Sam,
Harry, did you get
another point? Sorry. Yeah, I said 1-0 Burnley. Another point as well. Burnley have beat Leeds and Sunderland this season. We've lost to both of them. So that's another reason why I'm a bit nervous going into this. And they beat them, I think they beat both of them 2-0, was it? So I know they beat Leeds 2-0 last time out, and I think they beat Sunderland 2-0 earlier on in the season as well. Yeah. So but we are favourites for this game, but all signs lead to if you're putting your life on it, you'd bet Burnley to win, wouldn't you?
I think so. Yeah. Oh, at least stink out the place. Talking about being favourites, Bayliss has some odds.
Yes. The obvious one to start with: 1-0 Burnley. Lyle Foster, first and only goal, 26-1. Take it to the bank. For the optimists out there, 2-1 Wolves. Tolu to get the first goal. You can get it around 43-1. 1-1 Manetzi to score the first goal in the game, 54-1. And this might be the worst odds I've ever seen. 4-1 Wolves. Arias, as he's taken so much stick to score the first goal.
God, a lot.
181-1.
Oh, well, that seems very short.
I would want 1,000-1.
Yeah,
to score in a game.
I mean, I'd want 500-1 just for Arias to score, and then one with 4 on the back of it.
Just have a shot on goal. Right, Harry, there was some. I think it was on the Always Wolves podcast that this news. I call it news in quotation marks. Rumours about a takeover of the club, and also that players have fallen out with each other. Vitor isn't travelling on the team bus. What was your assessment?
Yeah, well, I did a video on this myself, but where I saw a similar sort of rumour was on a page called Wolves Fan Zone. Again, when I see pages like that, or Molyneux's, wasn't it, in the summer, that said the club are up for sale, take it with a pinch of salt. But then, like I said that time, you never know. You never know. Like, you might hear something, but some people make things up. The one about him falling out with the players, this guy who I actually went and watched this Always Wolves podcast because everyone was talking about it. He had a guy called Sucky on. I think his name was Sucky. It turns out Dazzling Dave's done a video on his own channel now, basically dismissing what this lad said. But this lad was like, I walk in the training ground, I speak to the players all the time. I can't say anything. You're like, mate, why are you saying that? But apparently he's fed out with Jose Sarr, he's fed out with Andre and others, according to this Tucky. We know about Andre anyway, because he dropped him twice, didn't he? There's legs to that. He's not happy because he was promised the world when he come in. Then there was he didn't travel on the team bus with the players. Turns out they flew. They didn't even go on the bus. They flew up to Sunderland. But he did fly straight back to Portugal, which has annoyed a lot of fans. But Bruno Lage used to do the same. I think Sal Bakken used to do the same, where they just fly home straight after the game, see their family for a few days, then come back. When it's this crucial in the season, in between Sunderland and Burnley, I think that's bad that he's flew back. If it's true, allegedly, if he has, but everyone's saying he has. I think that's bad after a defeat to Sunderland away, but there we go. It happens all the time, apparently. And yeah, so what other rumours was it? I think that was about it, but everyone's kicked off. Everyone was getting excited, saying we're going to be sold. Apparently, Dazzling Dave's got some kind of behind-the-scenes knowledge about who's bidding.
Fucking has.
Oh, no, it's a load of bollocks. Look, Fosun are so tight and in-house with all their information. Even like the Express and Star, like we've said over the years, can hardly get anything out of them.
Some might say, Harry,
stuff, but
some might say that it's Chinese whispers.
But yeah, so it all kicked off, and in a nutshell, most of it's untrue. Most of it's just hearsay and bullshit. And that's why when I did the video on it, I just kept saying allegedly and apparently over and over again, because when it eventually come out not to be true, I banked the views I got just for talking about it and getting all the hype, and then it turned out not to be true anyway. As always is the way with these sort of things.
Oh, 100%. Jack, you made the point, I think, on the group saying that who in their right mind would buy an asset for hundreds of millions of pounds when it's going to be worth approximately half of that come the end of the season? And that's if you can get it through on time.
I mean, half of that seems generous, but that's why I've been skeptical about these takeover rumours just from the start, because really there's been no whispers that I've seen from any credible source apart from just Wolves fans. I think that's just where it keeps coming from, doesn't it? So I honestly think it's just hope rather than expectation, because how the relationship with Fosun has deteriorated. But who would come in and buy us now? Especially the price that Fosun wants. You know what they're like with everything. They'll want, if we turn this club into a Premier League club, they're massive in China. They've got a esports brand. They want 400 million or I don't know, whatever it might be. But the reality is, as soon as we go down, we're worth 40 million.
Yeah, that's what they brought it for.
What they pay.
So, yeah. Well,
even like
every time you watch a Jeff Shee interview, when he's asked about this in the very few he's done, he always says, no, we're not looking to sell, but we're looking for investment. He's always saying that they're looking for investment of people, but he's never saying they want to sell. And he don't want to sell his little esports baby. He loves the Wolves badge that they play in and that. So he wants to keep it for that reason. He said in that Business and Sport interview, if it was up to him, he'd deal with the esports stuff and he'd let someone else deal with the football stuff. But he said, because it's gone so bad, they need him at Compton because he thinks he's this kind of genius. But I think Fosun should employ someone who actually knows what they're doing and not have someone in-house in Fosun do it, who Jeff Shee is basically, who 8 years ago knew about as much about football as I know about cricket.
It's all about money and the taps have dried up. We said this like 3 years ago on the podcast.
Yeah.
I'll have to go and find it. There was a Chinese statement that they'd stopped funding excessively into foreign sport, and it's happened. It was good while it lasted, and something has to happen to get them out. But changing Shee, not changing Shee, bringing in a custodian to manage it who knows football makes no fucking difference to anything. Unless the money is there to buy the players, to invest in the club, you don't stay in the Premier League. End of.
But the sell to buy is what they're doing, and they do spend money. They have spent money this summer, but they've sold a hell of a lot to do that. And the first time they ever mentioned sell to buy was off the back of lockdown and off the back of what Bayliss just mentioned with that article. And it was just before Nuno left. It was the first Aswall they ever did. And Jeff Shee, weirdly, I watched it the other day because it popped up in one of my memories. And it was the first time he ever said, from now on, we are sell to buy and self-sustainable because we can't carry on with what we're doing. And that was the turning point of when this massive dips happened in the last few years. Well, a slow dip of us selling our 2 of our best players every season to fund our spending. And like Bayliss says, if you get in, I don't know, another chairman, someone who knows what they're doing to steer the ship and have someone, it doesn't matter because the model we're using, it makes it so hard to just survive in the Premier League.
It's like changing the captain on the Titanic. Makes me fucking...
Yeah, it's got to think. Yeah.
It's still an iceberg.
It's true. Neil says maybe we need to start looking to get players from Grays and Gillingham. I think that's talking about Michael Kitely and Matt Jarvis from memory. Speaking about those lower leagues, Bayliss, you are actually heading to Bromley for a football game on Saturday, which is fine. But it was the price of the tickets which made our ears prick up. Just explain the situation.
It's a bye week in the league that I play in. So 6 of us are going to go and do something Saturday, which is a bit of lunch. And we thought we'll go and watch like a football team. Bromley Town's pretty close down here in South London. It's 25 quid for a standing ticket, which I know it's a slightly leafier, nice suburb of London, but I think that's quite punchy. I don't know. What do you
Did Getchi do their tickets as well? Did he set their prices?
Tell you what, it has got Ticketmaster, but it was a lot easier to use than the Wolves one.
Oh God, yeah, the Wolves site is absolutely.
Damn, we didn't have. We were on our own last week. What's these 2 thoughts on that fan getting banned?
Lucky bugger.
So
where do I sign?
I mean, it's just ridiculous, isn't it? Really, because as long as I've been a Wolves fan, people swap tickets around, don't they? A season ticket is a big commitment. To go to every game, particularly the years we're in the Championship where there's 23 home games or whatever. And with the way it's going now, and the way, particularly in the Premier League, that the football's terrible, the prices have gone up. People don't want to do it every week. It's not that appealing. So the odd game, people are going to want to try and shift their ticket. Now, if anyone's mad enough to pay cash for it, let them crack on. But the problem with this, it's nothing to do. And ultimately, it comes down to they don't care about whether fans are in the stadium or not. They would rather have an empty seat there that they've maximised the profit out of than have a full stadium. That's the thing that leaves a bad taste in the mouth, isn't it? Because ultimately what they're saying is, unless you can sell this ticket or resell it through our official Ticketmaster partner, then, it's your own fault. You've lost the ticket. So it's just everything they're doing, they're getting wrong these days, aren't they?
What do they make?
It's just a pattern of behaviour. Absolutely nothing, because you can only resell it if the game sells out. And now that the home tickets are 50 quid, no games are selling out.
They give you about 30. So say if it was a Category A game, if the ticket to buy in the North Bank, if you were just buying it on general sale as a member, say it was 55 quid. If I sold my season ticket seat and my seat sold 55 quid, they'd give me about 30 quid. That's how they do it.
Ludicrous.
But that never happens anymore because we never sell out. Like me and Sam said last week, it never gets to resell for season ticket holders and your seat just gets left empty unless you sell it to someone. But this lad who did it, put it on Facebook, got dobbed in and he got a 4-game ban. So there we go.
Cancel his direct debits. Terra, see you at Charlton away. Right, okay, let's finish on a positive fun note. There is, I believe, a commercial partnership between Serie A and our company where when somebody scores a goal in Serie A, they essentially, some Herbert comes along, gets the ball out the net, puts it in a bag, and then they set it on. One of Scott McTominay's balls sold recently for £32,000. So they're not cheap to do, but it does beg the question. I'll start with you, Jack. Is there a goal? And I mean, it doesn't really have to be Wolves related if you don't want it to be, but it'd obviously be better if it could be. Is there a goal where you would want that ball?
I mean, the one that springs to mind is if I wanted one ball, it would be Neves's in the Championship.
Against
the
Derby.
absolute screamer against Derby, yeah. Other ones that pop up, Jamie O'Hara's against Albion, even though it's scored by Jamie O'Hara. That was a great moment. Like just for that few minutes. Well, not to burn it. I mean, it was a great few moments, obviously, until we messed it up towards the end, Carlos Vela. Just from my personal memories of being a Wolves fan. From this season, don't matter. We don't score, do we? I'll have Credges from the other day for Sunderland.
Dan, is there a goal ball? I don't really know what to call it. I want to call it a match ball, but it's a little bit more than that.
You frame it.
Jota's second against Man United in the Cup. I think that's one of the most nuts I've gone at a football game. So that one. But a lot of sports do it, like international other sports. They'll charity auction off the shirts after the games and stuff. So I think Wolves do it with the Poppy ones, don't they? So
Harry?
British Legion get the shirts.
There's only one goal that's ever made me cry, like literally cry my eyes out in joy. And that was, I must have called 10, 11, when Kenny Miller put us 3-0 up in the playoff final against Sheffield United, first half. I remember this guy next to me kept kissing me every time it went in. Bearing in mind I was only 10 or 11, he's probably in prison now. He's probably on the register list. But I remember because Kenny Miller that season when I was a kid was my favourite player. Like I just loved him because he scored like 20 goals a season all the time, didn't he? And when that goal went in and we went 3-0 up, I was like, oh my God, we're actually going to go up to the Premier League. And as a kid, I was like, I never thought that was going to happen. So I'd probably frame that ball, that goal. Put it behind me.
That's like the best days of our childhood, right?
Oh, it sticks. That's why when we said the other week, we'd rather win the League Cup. That is why, because I know it's only a playoff final. But when you win something like that at such a big stadium in a final, it sticks with you for life. And especially when you're a kid.
We've done this before. We don't need to go over this again.
It's not important. I would say one that springs to mind, it's probably from a little bit of a while ago, is when Ebanks Blake did the Cruyff turn against Charlton.
That's a good one.
Because that was on the road to promotion as well, so that meant a lot.
No, we missed out on the playoffs that year.
Did we?
When he scored that wonder goal, Ebanks Blake, we missed out on the playoffs by a goal that year. Yeah.
Oh, I thought that was the promotion. Yeah.
Yeah, we nearly got there.
Wasn't it against Watford? When
yeah.
Well, I don't want to.
And the year after, we blitzed the league. He come in the January, didn't he, Ebanks Blake? I think that year.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. Right. Okay. Well, we'll leave it there for another week. So thank you very much. Best of luck if you're heading to Molineux on Sunday for the lovely kickoffs that we really do appreciate. We'll say goodbye to Harry Mansell.
Goodbye.
Jack Williams.
Goodbye, everybody.
And we'll probably see him after Christmas. It's a goodbye from Dan Bayliss.
Goodbye.
And it is a goodbye from me. Goodbye.